All right, we're going to discuss the good right off the rip, right? There's not a lot of it, okay? Another loss to the Toronto Blue Jays, 8-4. You'd probably think that Toronto just beat the brakes off of us based on this final score. And by the way, they just pushed their lead to 4 games. So for those of you thinking we've got plenty of time, we don't. The Yankees are sort of making their bed, and they're going to have to get out of a hole because that's what this is. But here's the good news, because I don't want to make it all negative. I want there to be both. Jason Dominguez breaks an 0 for 18, laser homer, obviously destroys Bassett. We're not sure why, but we'll take it. Anthony Volpe left the yard. Aaron Judge hit a clutch homer at the time, seemingly undoing what happened, right? Some previous mistakes, and we'll get to those. But none of you care about that, right? Some bit of good news here. Jabba Chamberlain is joining the podcast this weekend. I know Jake's excited for this. I'm excited for this. Bob Nightingale, Randy Miller, a couple of reporters, all slated to join the podcast this weekend. So be sure to subscribe to Yankees Unloaded. I know we're about to eclipse 8,000 subs, so thank you guys for doing that. And we're doing a jersey giveaway at 10,000 subscribers. So be sure to get involved. We can't wait to give that away. And that's it. Jake, is that the end of the good news?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the bad. The Yankees scored 4 runs on 5 hits. They hit 3 home runs. It's the literal definition of boomer bust. It's what everyone hates about Yankees lineups when they watch that. Exactly what you saw today. Now, when we win, we'll let it go. But when you lose and you make errors, it really pisses you off. Jay.
Why
Jay
is
really
it
wants.
So big.
What is going on? What's happening? We're not sure.
I mean,
but by the way,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so Jay, we do hope you win. Also a member here, so thank you for doing so. There's some more bad. By the way, for those of you who missed this game, if you missed it, good on you. And thank you again for joining Yankees Unloaded. But we had 4 errors. I know it's wild that this team, Jake, is tripping over their feet in the 5th inning. I know you mentioned it before we went live, or later. Clutch time, winning time, close games, 1-1, 2-1. Is this the team you want to see in a close game? Not really. The Yankees just find ways to lose games. And I'm obviously going to get to the details. We go into the bottom of the 5th, and Jake, you're the one who told me, hey, it's the 5th inning again, isn't it? Right? JC Escara doesn't block. What's a routine block? It's a slider, center into his chest, and doesn't block it, and we can get over that, right? Now, mind you, very next ball, it's a dribbler, to the glove side of Max Fried. He double pumps, but it seemed like the ball was going to have a chance to get the runner at home plate. And JC Escara, who created this problem, rather than securing the baseball, tries to do a swipe tag, thus throwing the ball to the backstop. Instead of it being 3-2, I'm going to say he would be safe. Instead of being 3-2, you're now talking about a 4-2 game. That's what teams who don't work on the fundamentals and don't hone in this craft, that's what you do. You put yourselves in bigger holes and you throw games away. Jazz Chisholm, who, by the way, again, not all bad, earlier in the game made a Jeter-esque throw. It was cool. It was at second base, so it's not Derek Jeter. We get that. But later in the game, he jumps and snares a ball. Vladimir Guerrero is playing. He's standing a foot off the base. And the ball is instead thrown to first, and ill-advised. Ben Rice, who now makes another mistake, and he makes another one later. Rather than realizing, oh, I'm standing at first, I can very clearly see this person is just not going to be out. I'm going to come off the base to make sure this ball doesn't bounce in front of me. He doesn't do that. What does he try to do? He tries to reach around Vladdy Jr.'s caboose and can't reach the ball. The ball squirts away, and Vladdy goes to second base. Is this new to any of you? Is this something that I'm explaining that you guys aren't accustomed to seeing? And then Jake, Cody Bellinger obviously loses a ball in the lights. There's nothing you can do about that, right? That's just nothing you can do. You can't get on a player for that happening. Johnny Lowe finally induces, right, a ground ball to get out of the inning. Ben Rice just boots the ball again. So, Jake, this is where I'm at. The prompt is, can the Yankees acquire enough players to fix their fundamentals? Is it possible that Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner believe that it's just the players that you've brought into the mix that can't hone in the fundamentals? Or are they going to finally admit it's the captain of the ship in Aaron Boone, who just really, I get, he's not out there making the plays. He's not able to go to his backhand. He's not the one making the decisions. But if you think about it, are these players accountable for the mistakes that they're making? Do they feel the mistakes that they're making? And is it going to impact them tomorrow? Jake, how are you feeling about this? Because I'm obviously very upset having to watch this and watching the same thing. You podcast about a team every single day. You want them to do something new.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. It's just uninspiring. In an entertainment industry like this, which, I mean, we always like to bring it up because it is. It's what's entertaining us or supposed to.
Is that what? Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah. But when you have 3 home runs and you lose a game like that, it takes a special kind of messed up to do that, especially when you have Max Fried on the hill. If you told me, Gary, before this game started, the Yankees were going to lose, but Max Fried was going to go 5 1/3, and they're going to have 3 home runs, I would have said, how does that happen? How do they lose? Well, they find other ways to lose. They find ways that you've never seen before on how to lose. And I don't know. They've broken the podcast. Yep. It's just
Were you
broken.
throwing all those chats up on there manually?
I was. And
so you were going to work.
Yeah, while I was doing that, I was like, if we had if we did have a producer, I feel like we would just have that going. Because did you notice how much more people were engaging in the chat when I did that? They're like, oh, I want to be on there.
I mean, it makes sense because why wouldn't you want to get involved, especially when you're doing a podcast? I know there's a ton of other podcasts who they'll just act like they don't see anybody. And that's obviously, we were doing this podcast the exact same way since there were 4 people in here. And so now, obviously, that we're on most shows, we've got over 500. Right. Now, we're just not going to change it. And yeah, I clearly see that they're making these bubbles much bigger up on the screen.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I don't think I hate it. I don't know why.
I can practically hide behind the damn thing. Oh, by the way, this is a this is a nice bit of information. It's not what I wanted to read. It's our first super chat, right?
Oh, geez.
So T with Takayama, thank you for the 5.
Thank you.
Thank you for investing in the Yankees Unloaded. It's greatly appreciated. And I assume he means Toronto. So Toronto scored 12 runs this series. 6 were caused by bad defense or errors. And by the way, for those of you who watch this game or these games, this entire series, isn't that exactly what you thought it was? Really? Oh, nice.
I just realized they switched our theme on us. So this is what they switched it to. This is what it was. But I actually like this.
I like that much better. I think it goes with the vibe. We have a much more advanced audience. This looks like a nice little audiobook for us. So we'll take this. So when there's no accountability, the fundamentals are always first to go. So mind you, T, thank you for the super again. The Yankees want us to believe that this is just poor fortune, mistakes, right? Jazz Chisholm he's making simple. He would have always made this mistake. It's simply on him, not leadership at all. I promise you, quality leadership can bring a ton out of you, more than maybe you thought was there. I think this Yankees team is plenty talented. I do. I think there's a couple black holes, like Anthony Volpe, mind you, hit a home run today. But Peraza and those players I don't want on the roster. I just don't. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Having said that, the rest of the group, I like this team. I do. I like the team. The bullpen's terrible. The bullpen is horrible. But the
Except
team,
for 2.
Correct. But the bullpen as a unit is really bad. Having said that, you mean to tell me I'm looking at the 9 that I'm seeing and I can basically assume you guys are going to throw away at least one game a series by not honing in the fundamentals? I don't think we could. There's 339 people in here. I don't think I can find maybe three people, Jake, who are shocked at tonight's results.
No. Well, I mean, look, this is why I can talk about it until I'm blue in the face. Same with you. I was actually just on the phone with my dad earlier today talking about it. Suarez doesn't make a lick of sense. Okay? The Yankees don't need offense.
That's completely fair.
They don't need more offense at the expense of defense. And I keep reading how, the Yankees just don't really like Suarez's glove, but they love his bat. I'm like, all right, I'll stop you right there. If you don't like his glove, don't get him. It's that simple. And I just feel like when I watch this team, every single time I'm watching them, since I've become open to the idea of trading for, with the Pirates and going out and getting Brian Hayes and being more open to that. Since that has happened, I've noticed they just continue to give you reasons why they should prioritize defense. I mean, think about it. You have Max Fried on the mound, and you're putting him in these positions where it's like, we knew this coming in. We had Ariel Epstein on, and we talked about how Max Fried is going to induce more ground balls than anybody, okay? And they have improved their defense. But what we're learning is they haven't improved it enough. They've taken a nice step. And if you want to be a wild card team, the Yankees are exactly what you would want out of a wild card team right now. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot. They're going to have days where they look like the best team in baseball. They're going to have days where they look like a bad team, right? But here's the deal. If you want to win a World Series, you can't have those. You can't have that consistently. I mean, they're consistently bad. Like, they have bad games consistently.
Why did people reject your idea, by the way? It was your idea. I wouldn't mind you. It wasn't your idea to begin with about Brian Hayes, but you were all for it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I told you right off the rip, I think you've actually convinced me, right?
Yeah.
And mind you, when we're sitting here talking about this player, if you look in the comment section, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's why we started this podcast. We want to hear everyone's opinions. We want them to hear ours. This is a conversation. Totally fine if you don't want Brian Hayes, but really think about, what is it you don't want about Brian Hayes? What is it? Is it the contract? Well, the contract's the reason that you're not going to be giving up any top prospects at all for him. And not to mention the fact, people say, well, the bat is just not any good. You watch the Yankees play on a night-to-night basis and think the Yankees, what they need most is a bat. No, what the Yankees need is more players around the field, like a Cody Bellinger, for example. We'll use him as an outlier. He practices the fundamentals. He hones them in. He's not a problem. He never has been. We need more players of the starting 9 where a baseball's hit to them or they're on the base pass and they know what to do. It sounds so simple, but yet the Yankees continue to roll player after player out onto the field who practice making these mistakes routinely. It's a problem. Peraza, right now, Ben Rice, right? Anthony Volpe, Jason Dominguez, right? You look at some of these players and say, well, why am I watching the same mistake over and over again? Why am I watching a guy who's supposed to be a defensive specialist boot baseballs in big games and must-win games? There's no reason for him to be on the team. So what I'd rather do is say the Yankees are horrible defensively. I see this super chat from Ninja Hot Dog with the 2. Thank you for that. Says Baboon is delusional as F. Says very good defensive club. So I'm assuming he said that post game. If they're a good defensive club, then why isn't it materializing? Is it them or is it you? I would love that to be answered. I would love it.
Yeah.
So Brian Hayes, I'm all for.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously appreciate the vote of confidence there. Right now, Brian Hayes has, let's see, these are his last bunch of games. Ready? 2 hits, 2 hits, 1 hit, 1 hit, 2 hits, 2 hits. Okay, so I understand it's small sample size, but it was like I was saying yesterday. His batting average, balls in play, is way up, right? It's actually higher than McMahon. And I want to put, both feet down on the McMahon thing because I feel like in an effort to address a specific DM I got about McMahon and how this person felt as though I was being unfair because I was saying I'm now okay with not having offense in Hayes, but McMahon is where, I'm not saying that about McMahon. Hayes isn't playing in Colorado hitting 213, right? That's a big issue for me. Like, if he's hitting 213 in Colorado, I don't want anything to do with Ryan McMahon. And then apparently I was too nice about it yesterday where I was like, yeah, I don't know. And some people thought that I actually meant like I wanted him. No, He is literally at the bottom of my list. He is Joey Gallo for me.
He makes just as much sense, by the way, as Suarez. Just no sense whatsoever. Suarez
Suarez is good.
Suarez is good, but not for us. If it's all about your team needs. That's really what the trade deadline's for. It's not, let's go get a good player. Obviously, in a vacuum, when you look at the player, you go, well, who wouldn't want a player he's probably going to hit 50 home runs? How is that a net negative? Well, the question is, what is the negative? What's the downside to your team? What do they struggle with? And then when we leave this deadline, they don't think Aaron Boone's the problem. They don't think when he shows up to the podium and go, we're great. Anthony Volpe's elite. We're a great defensive team. And we just watched you boot 4 balls in a must-win series.
Anthony Volpe's elite.
Elite. And so you're going to insult our intelligence, and then we're going to go to the deadline. You're either going to acquire players that help fix what you're bad at, or you're not. Suarez just makes you a better offense. But when people say this team's boom or bust, you're going to bring in a player who's going to hit 245 and hit 50 home runs, and you're going to tell me that you're solving the problem of boom or bust? Are you being for real?
And you can't complain if you do that. That's the thing. You can't be like, oh, this team. Okay, then why did you want them to go out and get another power hitter? How does that change anything?
I think most people understand the Suarez bit. I do. I think majority of our audience understands it. But then when you give them answers, they want a player who can hit and also is a great defender. Those aren't available. Unless you're calling Cleveland, and Cleveland's winning right now. If you're getting a Jose Ramirez, then great. There's a reason they're stars. They're good at both. There's not a third baseman or a shortstop available who can hit and field. That's why the Yankees are in a situation where they have to choose one or the other. And when you choose one or the other, Jake, you did the research. You pulled it up on the screen, and you mentioned Hayes' defense. I had no idea it was that good. I knew it was really good. But it is arguably the best defensive third baseman in the sport. So if you get that on the Yankees, doesn't it exponentially improve our chances of avoiding these 4 error games that I'm currently watching?
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about it because we're on the Hayes topic.
Yeah, go ahead. You have the floor.
I want to bring up I'm bringing up the tweet I sent you because we talk all day and we'll send each other tweets back and forth. I'll send him more than he sends me though, because I get like, I almost use our texting chain as like a way to like remember, because
it's a bookmark.
Keep forgetting. Yeah,
it's a way to bookmark what we're doing.
Yeah, and so Jim Bowden, who's a friend of the show, he went on Foul Territory with Cameron Maben, and he actually had an interesting thing to say. The Yankees are shooting higher than Ryan McMahon and Ke'Bryan Hayes. Okay, so I want to bring this up because there's 2 added layers to this. You know the one I'm going to talk about after that. But they are shooting for Suarez, Maikel Garcia, Mark Vientos, that next level above Hayes. I got news for you. I think Mark Vientos is the worst third baseman defensively I've ever seen in my life. He's horrendous. I think he's got is it -10 outs above average?
Probably, to be fair to what you're bringing up, I would bet you my last dollar, remember when everyone said I would like to see Ben Rice try to squeeze over at third base? I bet you it looks just the same as what Vientos looks like at third. It's really bad. And mind you, some big hits last year.
Sucks this year. Sucks.
Right. He was really good offensively in 2024. The Mets were expecting him to hit, but defensively, not a fit.
So I thought it was really interesting. We'll start with the first part of that, and then I'll get to the second, which you'll love because you and I both are going to have the same thought on it. But
I can't wait.
The first thing, right? We talked about Vientos. No, there's no way. He is not valuable at all. This is a player who, okay, he's 25. He has a 633 OPS, okay? He's hitting 224. He has a lower batting average than Hayes. And he's nowhere near the defensive player. He's literally in the 7th percentile. So, why would I do... How is he an upgrade? I don't get that. But then you have... and obviously, I'm not throwing shade at our guy. I'm just, I'm just making my point about Vientos. But then you got Suarez. We've already talked about Suarez. Maikel Garcia. This is the one guy I think that is on like my wish list. If they got this guy, like, okay, his base running value is kind of mid. It's terrible, actually. But you're getting this player at 25 years of age. He's hitting 291, a 785 OPS. He's a third baseman. I don't need him to hit near the top of the order, but I can have him hit pretty high because he has a 345 on base percentage. I mean, he could be my leadoff hitter.
He's the age of development. I mean, you're talking about a player that possibly could, at least there's an age where you can say, perhaps, first of all, if we get 290, if you get that, then okay. What is he defensively? His fielding run value is just, well, it's actually 76th percentile.
Yeah, so his run value, his outs above average, he is second, only behind Hayes. Hayes is so far ahead. Hayes has like a 14 defensive, outs above average.
So I would assume Maikel Garcia is more expensive. What's his contract, by the way? Do you know what Garcia's contract is? Because remember, Hayes is going to show up cheaper.
It would be arbitration. There's no way he has a contract. I'm going to check right now, but I look at this player like how you look at going out and getting J-Ram. This is how I see it. Because I see a guy who can be here long-term with Jazz Chisholm, be here long-term with a Spencer Jones, with a Jason Dominguez, and really be a part of that nucleus. I think he'd be a perfect fit, right? And yeah, you would have actually 1, 2, 3, 4 years of control before he hit free agency in 2030 at age 30.
Is it fair to say that if we look at a trade partner that's a position player, if you don't look up and see that they're a great defensive player, you don't see it lit up in red, it's just not a fit at all? Is it fair to say that?
Absolutely, and I think this is good enough that we're not asking for the stars in the sky. I mean, like if you hit 291, I don't need you to be here. Like this is good. If you hit 291, you can be here for all I care. You can't be below this line. But when you hit 291, you get more of a pass, is what I'm saying.
What is this going to cost, by the way? Because obviously,
like this would cost you probably the way. Because I guess I don't really know what the Royals would be looking for. I don't know why you would trade this player. I went on record saying that. I love the player. I love the fit. But I don't know why on earth you would be trying to trade this player, okay? But if you are, and you got Seth Lugo, and you got some guys that you're trying to trade in the starting rotation, maybe you're interested in Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. Maybe you're interested in a Carlos LaGrange. Maybe the Yankees can avoid, make a trade for Maikel Garcia. Maybe they end up getting Esteves on top of it, so they get some bullpen help, and you end up only moving pitching prospects instead of having to move Spencer Jones or a Lombard Jr. Personally, I would heavily consider moving Lombard Jr. for a player like this. I would.
Okay, so here's how I'm going to feel about it. When I'm looking at a player like this, the Yankees, I'm just going to diagnose the problem. Okay, I'm going to diagnose it like it's a damn tumor on the back of your shoulder. This dude, okay, what he excels at, actually, it looks pretty similar to what Cody Bellinger was, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about a player who can master the fundamentals. He fits like a glove. Look at his position. You don't see utility, second base, left field. You don't see that. You see third base. The Yankees need to be looking for a solution at third base. They've got one at a time. You need to find players first and foremost. And I love this option. You didn't have my attention with this player until now, right? And I'm going to say this about what I think the Yankees would potentially do for this player. I think right now the Yankees have an overlap of talent. And here's what I mean by that. If you look at the outfield, and I don't mean necessarily Trent Grisham. Trent Grisham's on a contract year. So the Royals aren't going to be like, send us Trent Grisham and we'll kick you Maikel Garcia. The issue is that the Yankees have overlappings at first base. Really, at designated hitter, we've got two. Jason Dominguez is a DH who just plays outfield. And the only reason he's playing outfield is because Giancarlo Stanton has to DH, and he's still performing. So the Yankees at this point, you've got an overlap at DH, right? You've got an overlap at first base. You've got somewhat of an overlap now at catcher, right? You've got Wells, who will regress, and then Ben Rice gets forced over there. Then all of a sudden, Rice will just sit. We have no idea why. They'll tell you, well, because we want Wells to catch, right? We've got all this overlap on our roster. I think you can justify, in a trade for a player like this with control, trading players off of our big league roster that the Yankees feel like they'll phase out of their core. Not because it's a bad player, but because that player has value on the trade market and they technically have another player to play the same position. I think this should be the option for the Yankees. I think the Yankees right now, there's just too much overlapping. There's too many players who play the same positions. And the Yankees right now, their problem is they're not any good in the infield on the left side. Anthony Volpe, again, hit a home run today. I don't think anyone's comfortable with him long-term. Third base, what's the Yankees' long-term option? Is it Cabrera when he returns from major injury? Is that the Yankees' answer? This player right here, if he gets no better, and he gives you exactly what he's doing for Kansas City, 290 with a 345 on base, which, by the way, is a better player than Jazz Chisholm was when we traded for him. Jazz Chisholm on the Yankees is hitting over 300. Over a 300 hitter. This year, since the first month of the year, and Jake, you said it was going to happen. You said Jazz is going to go on a tear. To the point where we're going to say, I want this player back on the team. We're going to want a $100 million contract. And at the time, everyone's like, why would we do this? You see how bad he can be. Players like Maikel Garcia, players like Jazz Chisholm, when you put them in their home position, they give you great defense and they're going to hit. That's what this player is. So I just think this is somewhat of a solution. It's an option for the Yankees. It's one of a couple. There aren't a ton. But right now, Brian Cashman's not in a position. I see people saying they should sell, periodically. You're the New York Yankees. There's no such thing. You simply can't.
Yeah, no. I think I'll show you a package that I think could potentially work, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to sell this guy short. I think he's like really good, okay? And I understand you see those previous stats in 2023 and 2024. I totally understand people are like, it looks like he's more not what he is this year. Maybe this year, whatever. It's just a lucky year. I don't look at it like that. When you're a young player, I see this guy has figured something out. So I would say, if I were to say anything, Vientos' year last year is not who he is. I would almost guarantee you Maikel Garcia is more this player than Vientos was last year's player, right?
If Anthony Volpe next year, won't he be the same age as Garcia? So if Anthony Volpe hit 300 next year with an on base of 350 and played great defense, what would the Yankees be saying? He figured it out, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So
Garcia does exactly that. And mind you, Garcia's floor is 231. That's his floor.
Yeah.
And then he has another season hitting 270. Jake, I think this is really good.
This is what I got for you. Let me know if you would do this. So I got Maikel Garcia. And again, the value is going to be a little higher, right? Because these guys, I think, are lower than what they actually would be. I think Arias is way more desired than what they're saying here. It's why he keeps getting mentioned by the insiders. Right. When you hear Roderick Arias being mentioned by a Jim Bowden, that tells me that he's a lot more than a 1.7. Okay? So I think this might even be more than they have to give up. But the point being is they get 2 starting pitching prospects. They get a catcher of the future in Rafael Flores. And they get, Roderick Arias, who's only 20 years old right now. So Maikel Garcia goes to the Yankees. You got a guy who's under control for the next 4 years. You have a potential franchise cornerstone there. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs. That's not his game, and that's okay. Gary, what do you think about this trade?
It doesn't scare me a lick, to be honest with you.
I mean, I would give up more if I had to.
I would give up even more than this. And mind you, this is a nice starting point. I think where you are in this trade is you're in phase July 23rd of the trade. But as the deadline starts to get closer, and if you genuinely figure out, the Royals are actually we'll trade you this player if you give us, say, Cam Schlittler, right? Let's say you throw him in the package and you remove, I don't know, Roger Arias. They say, okay, well, now we're talking about what is it that we're giving up? You're talking about something in the rotation. The Yankees, and basically what a lot of people have said in our comment section, is that the Yankees, no. They need to add a starting pitcher. Okay, well, there's quite a few options out there who are rentals. It's not going to cost you a ton to get that done. So you can replenish that value very quickly, at least in 2025. And then, of course, if you need to in the winter, you can spend money.
Oh.
So that's where I'm at.
Don't forget, you know who's on that team? Seth Lugo. So,
yeah, and I throw much better. I probably remove Arias from the trade, and I'm probably going to put Cam Schlittler in that deal.
If you're getting a starting pitcher, I think they would want Schlittler or Warren. I might be down to move Warren if I'm getting Maikel Garcia.
Yeah, you take it on, because everyone's going to say, well, I don't want to get rid of this guy, or I don't want to get rid of that guy. Well, unfortunately, your organization's not in that position. Your team, if you've got Peraza manning third base, and you have the potential to bring in a Maikel Garcia, you lose the value. And you just say, well, I hope the player I traded isn't a superstar. If he ends up being a 3-starter in Major League Baseball, you mean to tell me that's not worth it to get a player with that type of potential? I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Will Warren, and I would probably say, yeah, Rafael Flores. And there you go. You might have to give up more, but that's the thing, is like, what kind of trade are we looking at? Are the Yankees willing to move guys that are currently on the 26, currently on the 40? Or are they? And I think that's the thing we're going to learn pretty quickly.
That's the most attractive thing for me, is actually to move guys on the 26. And the reason for that is because of the stacks positionally. If we just had a really good left fielder and a good center fielder, we're horrible in right field, we were bad at third base, we were great at short, and there was no good players behind the other good, then I would be like, okay, now I'll deal prospects to try to fill in the gaps. The thing is with the Yankees is like their gaps are all with one spot. They don't have any options at certain positions. None.
Yeah.
So I think the Yankees fill this. By the way, I want to catch up on some super chats. Kyle's damn burnt into the screen. Thank you for the 2, Kyle. Of course, for being our mod. Says, wake me up when Cashman wakes up and makes a trade. He'll make a trade, but will we be happy about it? And I can't wait when the deadline, when we go live. I want to go live around the expiration of the deadline. I think that'd be really fun. So we'll just, some type of deadline day, we'll come up with some fancy slogan. And Yankee Fangirl for Life, thank you. Of course, a member of ours. Thank you for the 2. Only 4 errors. It felt like 10.
You're not wrong. But I also think it's because they had a lot of throwing errors, per se, something you would call an error if it was a position to be called an error. Like, after the play was already over, there's a bad throw. Or like, that happened multiple times. So I understand it's almost kind of like, you know, you're kind of joking there, but it did actually feel like 10.
Michael K was not very happy on the broadcast. I don't know if you missed it, but I'll tell you, people can say what they want about Michael K and being a homer and he's a company man. No, Michael K at some point in this game was like, this is just sloppy baseball from the New York Yankees.
It was terrible.
It was horrible. And I know earlier you said this was an entertainment industry. Yeah, when you said it was an entertainment industry, that it honestly it saddened me, because it reminded me I'm supposed to be having fun, and I didn't have very much of it. I think Jason Dominguez hit a home run, and I saw the Judge home run. I actually didn't even have fun when I saw the Judge homer, because I was almost upset that we were getting away with mistakes that I knew just later on were going to show up, and I didn't know it was going to happen again tonight, and it of course did. Yeah, we didn't deserve to win today's game. Jordan Goat, obviously a big Michael Jordan fan here on the podcast. Yeah, thank you for the 5. Says, love the show, Jake and Gary. If there are 2 things that this team is lacking, fundamentals is a sense of urgency and focus. Now, mind you, Jake, a lot of people look at the fundamentals, and this is what I'm going to ask you because I'm curious. I am. Is it that when you watch a baseball team and they don't know what base to throw to, they don't know the outs, they're making mental mistakes. Just we're going to tie the bow on that. Mental errors. Is that on the players? Because the players are in control of their own bodies. They're the ones doing the job. Or is the reason that the Yankees make these type of physical errors and mental errors out on the field, is it because of the lack of urgency and focus really that Aaron Boone is not enforcing on this team? What do you think is the problem? Because mind you, we both agree Aaron Boone is responsible to at least to some degree. What degree do you think that's at?
Do you remember my rant last year when, I forget, it was a super chat or whatever that caused it, but like somebody set me off, not like mad at them, but I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? It's a bunch of guys, you know, who essentially are way too comfortable. Like they take, you know, their situation for granted. And so it's a lot of jogging to first base. It's a lot of just lackadaisical play. I'm seeing that again. And I mean, it's not from everybody. Like when you have a Cody Bellinger, you have Aaron Judge, I think there's actual desire there. I think there's actual love for the game. But you have to start questioning it when, you know, you see guys that like as much as I love Jason Dominguez, I really was turned off by the way he played left field today. I can accept if you're just not good enough in left field. And, you know, the other day where he tried to make a diving catch at the wall or jumping catch at the wall and it looked like a ridiculous sequence, I can be okay with that. It looks awful, but like at least you're trying. The whole like sticking your glove out there when the ball's just getting by, or, you know, oh, it just rattles off the glove. Yeah, just not acceptable. And again, love Jason Dominguez, but I gotta be honest here on this show, and I gotta call out what I see. Trent Grisham, I don't have any issue when he plays lackadaisical because Trent Grisham is really good defensive wise, and the guy's rarely out of position. He made a great, you know, running catch. Was very concerned Jason Dominguez was going to run into him, but you know, I see that. I see, you know, arguing with the umpire when you're down by 4, just stuff like that.
Oh, ridiculous! It's like so ridiculous.
Like, did Volpe absolutely get hosed? Yes, it was not a strike, and so did Peraza. But you know what? I'm willing to defend Volpe here a little bit because Volpe hit a home run on that earlier in the game. But it was, you know, the ball was a little bit down. He had done something. He had actually contributed to the game. Oswald Peraza should literally have a lock and key over his mouth. Like, he should not be saying words. Not until you start hitting 200. If he hits 200...
Slap the Flex Seal right over his lips. You are hitting 140. What is he hitting, by the way? I'm actually...
Oh, God.
He's hitting 147. He's a James Bond agent. His ops is 445.
My biggest issue with Peraza is that I've defended him through thick and thin. And the biggest thing that I always said, Gary, and you know, because I said it last year, and he made me look kind of like a fool. But last year, right, he played 4 games. The year before that, he played 52. The year before that, he played 18. The year he played 18, he hit 306 and 832 OPS. But my biggest thing about Peraza is now he's getting opportunities, and in the 2 seasons, he's had at least 100 at-bats, right? There's only 2, 2025 and 2023. We're talking about a guy whose best batting average between those 2 seasons is 191. His best on-base percentage is 267. His best slugging is 272. And his best OPS is 539. I'm not a WAR guy. Won't even bring WAR into the equation.
What is his WAR, by the way?
Okay. Negative 0.0 or 0.1. So it's nothing crazy. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate Peraza in a sense that he came, you know, he's a homegrown talent, but I'm not an idiot, okay? He's 25, and if he hasn't figured it out now, and we're as hard as we are on Volpe, and he's way better than Peraza. Like, it's astronomically better than Peraza. Then at this point, I mean, I don't even care. I'm kind of over him. fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not like rooting against him, but it's just one of those things where it's like, if they can get IKF, if they can get Hayes, I think both of them would be upgrades over what they currently have. But
yeah, if we can get great players who can hit and field, then yeah. If you can pry it from somebody, a Maikel Garcia, you can pry something where a player, guys, if you hit 290 in Major League Baseball, in today's game, the average batting average is 240. Guys they're playing the same brand of baseball. We're somewhat rubber banding the opposite direction, which is a good thing, right? Some contact bats are at least trying to get back into the game, right? You see with Spencer Jones, 7 years ago, Spencer Jones would have been the top 10 prospects. They said, well, who cares about the strikeouts? Because we don't care about that. But the game we're sort of going back the other direction. So I will tell you, this is a bit of just sad information and true that Kyle alludes to. He says, Marcus Stroman's been our best pitcher the last 2 weeks. That's probably true. Probably true. And
probably.
Cam Schlittler was able to give us some patchwork, do just enough in a big game. Obviously, you saw it in the series. That's not good. It's not. And now Max Fried is not necessarily pitching great in big games, right? He didn't pitch well in the Dodgers game. Thought he was okay today. I love the start, but started to get away from you. You have almost a 30-pitch inning. You're starting to labor there. Obviously, the double clutch, it surrenders a run. It just wasn't enough. We needed it to be showtime. What were you going to say there, by the way?
Yeah, I remember the second part. It's funny. I had actually
go ahead.
Yeah, so the second part of that thing that I was talking about with Jim Bowden on Foul Territory, thought this was really interesting. You'll love this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was saying that he doesn't believe, or no, doesn't believe. He was saying the Yankees analytical department does not like Hayes. He's like, scouts might see a player that they can fix or a player, whatever. But the Yankees analytical department does not like Hayes. Do you know what I did when I heard that?
Go ahead.
I was like, well, I like Hayes even more. The Yankees analytical department is a bunch of buffoons. They have no idea what they're doing.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't understand. So what are analytics if you're taking the best defensive third baseman, the guy who has an outs above average over 14, right? Or I think it is 14, which is insane. The next guy is literally Maikel Garcia at 5 at third base, okay? 14 outs above average.
Yep.
What is analytics if this is the best defensive guy at his position?
According to
analytics not look at the defense? Because that would make sense.
Michael K told you. Remember what Michael K told us? And he's right, by the way. He's exactly right. The Yankees have other analytics that we just don't get to see, right? Yeah. Whether they're right or wrong, they're clearly looking at something else than what the rest of the league or what we're even looking at. And by the way, if you just turn on the games and you watch him field his position, you just say, oh, that's just objectively, for a team who struggles with the fundamentals, he's a solution. He's not part of the problem. Isn't that what we should do? You say, we are horrible at the fundamentals. They're not firing Aaron Boone. We've learned that over the course of time. I think it's now a callous, an understanding. So the next best thing is to pick players one by one. Who doesn't practice the fundamentals enough to be on this team, and who can't save it with their bat? Jason Dominguez can save it with his bat. That's the only reason he's on this roster. If he wasn't a great hitter or they didn't think he could be, Jason Dominguez would be DFA'd tomorrow. He can hit. But Peraza and Volpe is supposed to be a good defensive player, right? It's supposed to be a solution to what we're bad at, but he's not. Now his value is popping a solo homer or a 2-run home run in the game. That's Volpe's value today. But you look at third base, Peraza's hitting 140-something, 147. We need a great defensive third baseman. We're not going to find someone who's great at both. So, no, Jake, 14 runs, defensive run saved is ridiculous.
Gary, it's right in front of us. I have to point this out. You know how I brought up Charlie Hayes? I don't think everybody realizes Charlie Hayes was a deadline acquisition by the Yankees from the Pirates.
And by the way, there are people who are listening to our podcast, because I hope people understand what you're saying. You don't think he's a star player. Neither do I.
No.
He's not. And never in his Yankees career are we going to say he's a great player. Mind you, we said it about Jazz. We think he could be a great player with this team, right? You said he could be a star. We can say that about certain players. We don't say it about him. What are we really saying about him? What he excels at, are we not the worst? Are we not the worst at what Hayes is excellent at? Put him on the team. It's an actual obvious trade. I'm going to go as far as to that. If the Yankees analytics tell you that this is a bad move for the Yankees defense and for the team overall in terms of value, these guys, they need a new crew.
Yeah. If they get one of Hayes or Maikel Garcia, I think the Yankees are going back to the World Series. Because I already know they're going to get bullpen, because there's no way you could tell me, Brian Cashman, when asked about what they were after, and he said pitching. You can't just be like, yeah, we got Brian Hayes, so that's it. Like,
it's not just that. And by the way, I want to read this super chat because I don't want people to think they're voiceless, and because maybe we disagree, you're not going to be heard. But on this super chat, you absolutely are. So, Vic, thank you for the 5. I'm not even going to try. Says if they don't sell now, they'll be stuck trying to retool a half-baked roster for another year while the division gets stronger. So let me say something. The division has been trying to get stronger for a decade. The Boston Red Sox, who won 10 games in a row, right? They had a comeback win today. The Red Sox haven't been very good lately. They just haven't. They're starting to go the opposite direction. There's no great team. Boston's probably the only team really where you're like, oh, they're a threat to go to the next level. So this idea that the Yankees, if they don't sell, they have no path. This isn't the NFL. Jake, you cover the NFL for a living.
Oh, yeah.
This is not the NFL where I'm going to trade my first round pick and then I have to go do it now, right? We have no chance of winning. You can't be looking at the Detroit Tigers, who, by the way, most of our audience was like, oh, yeah, we can't do anything with Detroit. Detroit's won 1 game, their last 10, right? And mind you, am I saying that they just now suck or they're chopped liver? No. But what I am saying is that we can't make rash decisions because we're not winning baseball games. The Yankees can spend as much money as they want. They just can. So this idea that they have to sell a certain asset to recoup talent later, they just don't. They simply don't.
Yeah, my biggest thing is this, and it kind of coincides with the NFL thing. The NFL, you have the salary cap league, but if you have a bad GM, you have a bad head coach, and your ownership doesn't care to replace those guys, you have a salary cap. You can only get so good. You can only be so good. Well, the Yankees don't have the best GM manager tandem, right? But because the Yankees don't have a salary cap, I know they have the self-imposed cap. They're still spending, we'll say, $250 million on the roster.
I think that was a fair assessment that you brought up. It was a fair point.
Yeah. So $250 million on the roster. I know it's a $300 million payroll, but some of those guys are probably not even in baseball anymore, and others are on another team. So the point being is that when you look at it, the Yankees still, at $250 million, have plenty of money to spend. And again, it's always important to remember, if you're very new to baseball, I want to make it clear so you understand. When I say $250 million, I'm not talking about, like last night when we were talking about Alex Bregman, right? Yeah, he signs a 3-year, $120 million deal. $120 million doesn't go right onto that payroll number. It's the yearly. That is what we're talking about. So a yearly payroll number. So obviously, yes, Juan Soto was offered, close to $700 million by the Yankees. But no, Juan Soto wouldn't be getting paid $700 million over 1 year where the payroll would balloon. The payroll is just what guys are getting paid yearly. So that is why I find myself so irritated, because I feel like the Yankees can do enough, and this is actually kind of going against the point of Vic here. They can do enough where they just, what's the worst they're going to be? The worst thing they're going to be is they're going to win 82 games if Aaron Judge goes down with an injury, as we saw, right?
That's right.
But the reality is it's pretty easy to win 80 games if you're the Yankees. It's a lot harder if you are the Pirates. It's a lot harder if you're the Rockies. It's a lot harder if you're the White Sox. When you're the Yankees, you can spend enough money to make your team look serviceable enough, and you can also make moves. Just because they don't do it all the time doesn't mean it's not possible. They have the assets. Everybody does, but the Yankees have the money to pay these assets. They have the money to pay Suarez for the end of his contract this year.
They
have
can
the money.
pay Kyle Tucker. And by the way, when
Exactly.
he's saying sell, when you say sell, I want people to remember, when you say sell, who's selling? They say the Yankees. No. Who?
The Yankees will never sell.
Who is responsible for buying and selling in place for Hal Steinbrenner? Who's responsible for doing that task? Brian Cashman. Now, if we did a poll and we said how many people think Brian Cashman is a solution for the next decade, how many people don't? You'd probably get, 90-10, saying that it's not the right guy for the job, and that guy is the one you want to sell? Doesn't make sense. The Yankees have shown the right move right now is to go get as good of a player as possible. If a Garcia is ever available to you, you absolutely do that. If you can't,
Without question.
you need to lock down the fundamentals by bringing in great defensive players. Great defensive player at third base. They're probably not going to replace Volpe. We just have to eat that one. We just have to.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want to pick on him, of course. He had a home run today, but you guys get the point. The Yankees need multiple arms, right? John Morosi said multiple. He's thinking 2 arms are going to join the Yankees bullpen. That's a good thing. Now, if they get the best defensive third baseman in the game, they put him at third, and they add multiple good relievers. You're talking Bednar, right? You're talking Bird, right? Some options, maybe another lefty specialist.
Kalum.
Now you can say, okay, that's not really us selling the farm for the now. That's us just making trades. Isn't that what this is? We're supposed to be making trades, Jake.
Yeah, well, remember I made the excuse for Brian Cashman over the offseason where I was like, to be honest, free agency is pretty mid. Like I wouldn't spend money on most of these
You
guys
did say that.
anyway.
Yes.
And so I understood, he looked at the market and he was like, I kind of like the idea of just trading for a closer like a Devin Williams. I kind of like the idea of going after a Cody Bellinger.
That's right.
Gary and I wanted Cody Bellinger last year, so we loved that idea. But
I've been telling Cody to join the Yankees since the day he was drafted by the Dodgers in the 5th round.
He should have been a Yankee like long ago. But anyway, the point being is I didn't really I wasn't going against him entirely on that process. I do think Alex Bregman was a miss. And because Alex Bregman, I believe, was a miss, and I'm not the only one that believes that, now you have to make trades like these. You have to go out and get a Maikel Garcia if he's possible. You have to go out and get a Cabrian Hayes, because how else is your team going to develop? Third base is kind of a position where, that's like what? Third base, first base, third base, shortstop. I mean, really, if it doesn't work out, they don't get anybody, that has control, Gary. I think we're looking at Lombard Jr. playing third. Like, I think if they're stuck with Volpe, if they really feel like he is the guy, Lombard Jr. is going to play third. And I think it's kind of insane because I think he's a much better defender already than Volpe. But the point being is that they don't really have... And I know he didn't really pan out, but Jordan Walker for the St. Louis Cardinals, that was like their third base prospect. You know what I mean? The Yankees never seem to have like a rising star third base prospect. And
so that's all the more reason to do this, because if you do trade for a third baseman, now it allows you to move with Anthony Volpe the way you should. Now, if you end up keeping him, that's just their choice that we can just disagree with on the podcast. Our audience can disagree with it. But allow yourself to remember, if the Yankees don't trade for a third baseman, a quality one now, look at the future for this team. They're going to say, what the hell do we do at third base? What are they going to tell you? Be serious, guys. They're going to kick a shortstop, as you mentioned, George Lombard Jr. They're either going to flip. What are they going to do? They're going to say, well, Volpe's arm is pretty weak. It's not going to get any better throwing him to third base. So now what? You're going to move Jazz Chisholm again to third base? Look what we're doing. We're now moving several players around the field to accommodate for the lack of a third baseman. Jazz Chisholm spent half this year helping us lose games with his glove at third base because the Yankees didn't go get a solution there. You wanted a third baseman in Alex Bregman. There are several other third basemen the Yankees could have acquired over the last 8 years, and they chose not to the point where Gio Urshela looked like we were happy with Gio Urshela. We were. That's how badly this team needed a third baseman you could just trust. Someone who's solid.
They've been doing this for years. I mean,
years
since
we've been going
A-Rod,
on about third base.
Chase Headley. You know, it's funny because everyone talked about left field. Third base is right up there for one of those positions that they just, recycle guys. LeMahieu and Cabrera and Peraza and, again, Chase Headley and, Gio
What would you
Urshela.
rather have, by the way? Quick trivia. I guess I shouldn't call it a trivia. It's just a question. But if you can have... Right. And I was looking for the graphic. Couldn't find it. If you could have... And guys in the audience, I would love if you guys could answer this as well. If you had the choice, and I know it's probably easy to say because we have left fielders, right? Like we have options out there, right? Grisham and Bellinger. We have guys we can throw, Dominguez. But the deal is, would you rather have a great third baseman or someone you trust at third base or left field? For me,
third base.
I'm looking at third base and shortstop and saying maybe first base as well, right? You can accommodate for some of the throwing mistakes, some errors, right? You saw some mistakes from infielders today, and Ben Rice wasn't able to accommodate for those. We've seen Paul Goldschmidt help shore up this infield defense. We've mentioned how this infield defense is better. First base, short, and third, I need to be reliable. If those positions aren't reliable on your team, I hate to say it, I don't think you can win a World Series if you're mediocre or bad at all three. I just don't think it can happen.
Well, the good news for the Yankees is that they've traded with, I think, everybody who's at the top. They have familiarity trading for Andrew Benintendi from Kansas City. They've traded with the Pirates before. They've traded with the Twins. They've traded with all sorts of teams, right? There's familiarity there. I don't know if Garcia is available. I just thought it was very telling that I have not heard his name once. And Bowden not only mentioned him, but he mentioned him after saying the Yankees are shooting higher than Ryan McMahon and Ke'Bryan Hayes. I thought that was worth saying. But
well, we're bringing Bowden on the podcast very soon, and we will ask him face to face. And so if you guys want to know an answer, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys like this video. I want to get to this super chat from Brian because Brian is always hilarious with the supers. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. Thank you, Brian, for the 5, investing in Yankees Unloaded. It's greatly appreciated. Says, as long as there's no accountability, and I'm assuming he's talking about Aaron Boone here, and there you have it. I can see it. This team is going nowhere. It's truly time to move on from Boone. He embarrassed himself on John Boy. So mind you, obviously, John Boy was covered. He was looked at by Aaron Boone like he was this pompous fool that touched the fence that he wasn't supposed to touch. And guys, I'll tell you this. And mind you, I want people to understand, Aaron Boone takes interviews from them because he's paid by them, right? And everyone understands this. This is perfectly fine. This is business. If you're going to accept someone's money, do the interview. And they're going to ask you real questions. And if you don't like them, so the hell what? They are fans. Yeah. So are we. So if you don't like people's opinion, don't take their money. If you don't want to, if you want to hop on somebody's show and they're going to ask you a question and they have to pay you to ask that question, you're going to have the audacity to be upset with what comes out of their mouth. Mind you, there's still a level of respect, and it was not crossed, by the way. Watch the interview. It's just not. It just didn't go the way he would want. Aaron Boone wants us to run podcasts like Yankees Unloaded, Talking Yanks, will do what they're doing. We're going to have all these podcasts going, right? Fanatics, that's what fans are. And they want, when the Yankees go on a 5-game losing streak, to just talk about the 90s. And then when they go on a winning streak, to talk about the now. It's not the way it works. This is the job that you accepted. So, yeah, I agree with you, Brian. But as we said earlier, Aaron Boone's going nowhere. He's not.
No. Yeah, and tomorrow, I believe, is an off day. So, I think kind of looking at this, let's shift gears because we have super chats. Before we get to the super chats, Gary, I want to do an exercise here, okay? No overthinking. Top 5 guys on your short list for the Yankees trade deadline. Go.
I'm going to assume Garcia is not available, so I'm not going to put him on my list, although I would love it. I'm going to say the top of my list is actually a reliever. I'm going to go with Duran from Minnesota. I think that's number one on my list. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to come up with 5, but we'll make do. Then I'm probably going to tell you, let's see here. I'm looking at Arizona, right? Mm-hmm. And mind you, these are not sexy options. Zach Gallen's having a down year. Merrill Kelly's having a better year. 36 years old, but you're bringing in a player who does. It's not like he's on a 5-year contract. He's just not. I'm probably looking over there, assuming we need another arm. I don't love our starting pitching. We do need somewhat of a shot in the arm. I'm looking that direction. I'm probably going to slide them to the 3 or 4 spot. I'm going to say Hayes is my number 2 spot. Given what we suck at, he's elite at it. There's just no way you can justify him being on this team and this not being solved to some level. It has to. There's no way you can bring Hayes on this team. If he starts booting balls at third base for the Yankees, Aaron Boone should be thrown on a rocket and shipped somewhere. I'm telling you, there's no other way. You bring the best defensive third baseman in the world, and he can't be a dynamo defensively for you.
Could you imagine
I don't know what to tell you guys. No,
could you imagine that? Like if all of a sudden this guy who's been consistently the best defensive third baseman in the league just turned into a potato at the hot corner for the Yankees, you'd be like, okay, Boone has to go. And I don't even know if it has anything to do with Boone. It's just the vibes at this point. It's just the energy. I don't like it. It's ridiculous. But no.
Here's the last person on my list. And I actually mentioned this player to you earlier and then saw it on Twitter. I promise you, I didn't steal it. Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is a player that a lot of us wanted earlier. Like this is a while ago. This is over a year ago. Mm-hmm. And his mechanics are off. For those of you who are watching San Diego, no fastball command at all. He's got one of the best sliders in the game. That pitch is still working for him. But the fastball command is just not there. And if there's one thing Matt Blake can fix, it is your fastball. You look at a player like Will Warren, right? Oh, there you have it. It's telling exactly the story of what we're seeing. And if you put Dylan Cease in, when you look at his stuff matters. He's sitting 98 to 100 miles an hour, wipeout slider, and his value has never been lower. Never. And he misses bats. You want to talk about a player who can help a team struggling with the fundamentals when he's right? How about you bring in a player who's going to strike out over 200 guys this year? Dylan Cease, in my opinion, is one of those players that the Yankees, he could probably be had for less than you think, given how he's pitching for San Diego.
I like that. I think you and I both agree on Duran, and I'm going to use what I have in front of me here to give everybody there we go. Ooh. We call this the river of blood, okay? This is just on nonstop red here. We like this. I think Duran, control, 27 years of age, 1.94 whip. He is somebody that immediately just really transforms your bullpen. Because, again, we've done the exercise. You have 5 starters, but, you have 8 guys left over. And if you have Will Warren and Devin Williams, you need 6 more guys, right?
That's
right.
And
then you have, let's just say you have Yarbrough. That's 5 more guys. So you're down to 5. Then you put in Duran. Now you need 4. Okay, De Los Santos, Yeri. Let's make that very clear. Yeri De Los Santos. You got 3. Cruz, 2, right? Then I would probably go with Bednar. So then you have 1. So you just need 1. And who is that one guy? I don't know. We can figure it out. But point being, Duran is number 1 for me. Because I think he's electric. I think he would change their bullpen. they could literally turn this into a super bullpen overnight because Luke Weaver's back on the high side, which is good to see. So yeah, Duran's number 1. Number 2, like you, I got Ke'Bryan Hayes. And you can see, I mean, 1 batting run value, that's low, but I don't really care. He's now hitting 243. This is improvement. His batting average balls in play is over 360 in his last 20 games. And I just think he's going to be a better hitter in New York, but regardless, it's all about the fielding, man. You know, this isn't just, yeah, he's good. No, his outs above average are at 14, okay? Next guy is Maikel Garcia at 5, who I also don't think is going to be available, but I hope he does he does become available. Good base runner, by the way, right? So you're talking about a pretty good athlete here, 28 years of control. Again, the control thing is a big deal for me. Not trying to really go after rentals. He's number 2. Number 3 is on the same team. I'm going to go with David Bednar. Okay.
Oh, you're going to give me Shohei Ohtani. I was going to say, I love this.
Yeah. I think Bednar fits the Yankees so well. Like and here's why he fits the Yankees so well. He's a lot different than the usual Matt Blake type of pitcher. Doesn't have a sinker, doesn't really use a slider. He uses a curve, a splitter, and a four-seamer. They did get more open to that splitter. Okay, it started with Mark Leiter Jr. Then they loved Mark Leiter Jr.'s splitter so much they went out and acquired another splitter ball pitcher in, of course, Fernando Cruz. I think Bednar would be a fantastic fit in New York. This is a guy that they have, of course, been interested in the past. So I like Bednar here for sure. And then next up is actually number 4. It's Danny Colomé. I think that's how you say his name. He is a rental, right? He's 35. I understand if he ever loads. I understand it, but good.
I like he said he ever loads, like he's responsible for it.
Yeah, he is responsible. But no, the Yankees need a lefty. So hate to break it to you, but you need a lefty. And he's one of the best lefties out there. Look at this stuff here. Okay, he's got all sorts of pitches. Cutter, sweeper, sinker, four-seamer, and a curve. Although he uses it 4% of the time. Let's not go too crazy on that. But you see here, the fastball velo, not going to blow you away. But you know what he does? He actually strikes guys out. A little bit more than 1 per inning, right? And you see a guy who has a .93 ERA. You see a guy with a .97 whip. He's come in 38 games this year. I like this player a lot. And I didn't even know who he was really until I started looking into him until John Morosi brought him up. So he's number 4 for me. And number 5 is Seth Lugo, who I think makes a ton of sense. And he's not a savant's wet dream, but it is what it is. This is a really consistent pitcher, okay? And the thing about Seth Lugo and why he ends up on my short list over guys like Zach Gallen, who I love Zach Gallen. Absolutely love Zach Gallen. I always have. But the reason he ends up on my short list here is because he is a rental, right? But he's so consistent. And he is what the Yankees are lacking right now. What happened to Fried today? He went 5 1/3. What happened to Schlittler? He went 5. Right? They're not getting the 7-inning guy anymore. It just right now they're not getting 7 innings to the point that we were trying to make. And of course, John Morosi was making is that if you don't have that starting pitching that's taking you in the 7th inning, like, you know, a Joe Girardi, New York Yankees World Series champion 2009 team, then the reality is it's putting more stress on your bullpen. And I already don't like the bullpen even when there's no stress. So I really don't like them when they have to go 4 innings, 5 innings. And now Seth Lugo is somebody that's going to go length. Why is he going to go length? Because he's going to be economical in his pitch count. And you could see it, his ERA, his whip, right? This is somebody, doesn't walk a ton, right? Has a really good breaking ball. He has 1 million pitches. I still can't believe this is a thing. Like, look at this. He's got 1 million pitches. But the point being is that Lugo isn't a strikeout pitcher. He can still strike out 181 and 200 innings like last year, but for the most part, he's just trying to get outs. He is exactly right now, if the Yankees get any starting pitcher, he is what the Yankees are missing because he can go length, and that is what they currently don't have for whatever reason. It's just gone.
And look at Scott Ross's super. It pretty much pieces this together beautifully. It's exactly what we're talking about, the gist of it. Because mind you, Scott, thank you for the 10. It says can't wait to the trade deadline. If your starter only gives you 5, there's no way you can piece 12 outs. And it's exactly what the Yankees do every night, isn't it? Right? You go out there, we're working someone out of the game in 5 1/3. You see Jonathan Loaizaga. My mother texts me about it.
Oh, God.
Right? It's like I'm living in a. And mind you, I'd love to hear from my mom, but when you see Jonathan Loaizaga is the text, it's not what you want to see. It's not. And guess what, guys? He has to pitch because the Yankees don't have options. And Yankee starters don't pitch enough innings where we don't have to think about this. If guys could come out of the game in the 6th inning with 2 outs, well, I don't have to look at too many names. I don't have to look at Tim Hill. I don't have to look at a Leiter Jr. when he's healthy, a Cruz, 6 different names to go get me outs. It's too much. Scott says the defense is a dumpster fire and needs to be shored up. Completely agree, and that's why we brought up Hayes, of course, the trade deadline being less than a week away at this point, actually just a week away. Says he needs to start tonight. Losses will mount. I mean, yeah, we're gonna throw away a lot of games. And to be fair, a lot of teams that think they're good, like really good, great teams, they're throwing away games as well. We mentioned Detroit have won 1 game their last 10, right? The Dodgers, they had a walk-off win today, I believe, off the bat of Freddie Freeman, and go figure. They have been struggling to win games. Why? Their bullpen is decimated. And so there are a lot of flawed teams out there. And our biggest flaw right now is the fundamentals in finding players who can go out there and do the task. And you can also say one of our biggest flaws is our manager. I mean, just going to throw that out there. And Ronnie, who's a member of ours for the last 10 months, so thank you for doing so, Ronnie. Says, I'm over it. I'm too old for this. I feel the same. Let me know when Trashman and Baboon are gone. We're in trouble as long as they have the keys. Great show, fellas. Yeah, I see some people are like, why are we talking about trades? Well, the trade deadline is a week away. And then obviously when the trade deadline's done, you won't hear about a trade until this winter. So
I do get a kick out of that when people are like, why are they talking about trades? I'm like, it's July. I mean,
that's how it goes.
How long have you watched? How long have you followed baseball? July is trade deadline. Like, there's nothing going on. NFL training camp just started, but everyone is talking. It is the only time during the season where MLB trade deadline coverage will outdo anything. It will outdo anything. There's nothing out there that can even compare when the MLB trade deadline gets going.
Is this true, by the way?
I didn't see it, but I guess he had a cut on his finger.
For those of you who are in our audience, I'm looking at the chat as we speak. Is this true? I can't confirm or deny. I didn't see it. Didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Didn't see anything said in the post game. I'm very curious to know if this actually happened. Because I can tell you right now, if Max Fried, so Blue Dot 7 is saying yes, his hand was bleeding. Yes, his pinky. Okay.
Oh, boy.
I'm telling you guys now, this can't be. It cannot happen. This team cannot afford, just the same as Jake when he mentioned Aaron Judge. He mentioned the injury. Yeah, where's our floor? Our floor is 82 wins. We're going to be a 500 baseball team. If Aaron Judge is hurt the rest of the year, we're going to be a 500 team. That's who we are. Okay, well, great. Where are we when we lose our ace? Without Max Fried, we're not going anywhere. We're just
They're
not.
already down an ace. They're literally down Garrett Cole. Yeah, it's boy. Yeah. I
don't understand how this is happening. This is ridiculous at this point.
Well, I feel like Fried had a blister 1 year as well.
1 year. He's been on the IL 4 separate times with the Atlanta Braves. I actually pulled the stat up. Mm-hmm. He went on the IL with the Braves 4 separate occasions, and that includes on 2 other occasions where he actually managed to stay off of it but was dealing with the injury. He now joins the Yankees. We give him over $200 million. He has a blister. Doesn't go on the IL, right? Should have probably gone on the IL. So we can bring another player up. We didn't have a starter for a game because Cam Schlittler obviously had an issue with his bicep. We should have had another player on the roster to begin with because of the injury. So now he's pitching and his hand's bleeding.
And it's not good in July, by the way. I mean, his ERA coming into this game in 3 starts was a 6.43. Like, I mean, that's not Fried.
I'm glad this was brought to my attention. I was unaware of this. This is good information. So, Kyle, thank you for doing so. Yeah, I didn't see this.
Yeah, Paul, appreciate the super. Boone answers questions like a clown. The whole team sounds like a cult in postgame. We are not fixing all this season. Unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with what John Boy was saying. You know, he was telling Boone, he's like, I know you say this, and you say you want to win, and you say we're obsessed with, you know, trying to win or whatever, but he's like, it doesn't come across that way. And, you know, that's when Boone said, I don't care how it comes across and whatever. But, and by the way, Boone has every right to say whatever he wants in an interview, just like John Boy has every right to grill him in an interview. Like, so I want to make that very clear. I believe in freedom of speech on both sides. Like I'm not sitting there like, oh, Boone, you know. But yeah, Gary, it's interesting how we've been talking about this for years. I mean, even when we barely knew each other, I'm sure we shared tweets or whatever, DMs, what have you on Twitter, because that's how we found each other, is through the Yankees.
Oh, you can take Seth Lugo off the screen. I'm tired of looking at him.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it's not
see a
pleasant. Yeah, it's not a pleasant, you know, whatever, savant. But point being is, I remember us actually talking about this stuff even before we started streaming together. Like, the Yankees have always been this. And, well, not always. They weren't like this with Girardi. But this is the Boone special, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, it's not changing. It's not. Just
I'm
like
actually
the way
surprised,
he uses
by the way,
bullpen.
I'm surprised we're actually going about, because mind you, Aaron Boone was a decision. It wasn't the person, because people are like, oh, the reason Aaron Boone was hired is because he hit a home run.
No.
Right?
No.
No. Aaron Boone was hired in the first place. You have to remember, every single team, when they're hiring a manager and they're doing interviews, they're not just interviewing, right, what a guy's going to do in terms of X's and O's, but they're also interviewing, right, the person. They're also interviewing to see, are you going to step on any toes? Are you going to listen to instruction? Are you going to abide by instruction? Are you going to show up in the post game and give off the cuff answers, right? Mind you, look how he's covered. They say, well, he's a player's manager, right? That's exactly what we brought him here to be people's friend. And mind you, I get when people say player's manager, they don't mean friend exactly.
I know,
but what Yankees fans are saying is that it seems a lot like you're buddies with these guys.
That's how I feel in the NFL. When you're low,
it seems
we're
like
hiring a player's
Volpe is
coach.
like his son. And that's the way that this is. Now, again, I don't want to attack him in a personal level. It's not that.
Yeah, no,
however, when people say, well, what do you want the guy to do? I want you to be real. Hey, when someone in an interview who's paying you money to interview you, by the way, says, oh, yeah, what's going on with the errors, like the arm accuracy at shortstop? You think the person interviewing you is stupid to where you can go, no, he's good. He's accurate. There's no reason and there's no use for just lying to someone's face. Mind you, it's not like you're just talking to the person who's standing in front of you. You're talking to all the people that consume their content. Why would you lie?
When he said that.
So it just tells me, if I put a mic in your face and you're just gonna insult our intelligence, well, yeah, it feels like a cult. That's the way it feels. So like Paul's saying it in a joking manner, but it's true. It's factual. These guys all say the same thing, and they want you to believe, well, it's because we have each other's back. That's not what that looks like. I've seen what it looks like. I've had jobs before. Most of us have had jobs before. We know what it looks like when a coworker has your back or someone who's next to you has your back. It doesn't look like that. This is just a complete lack of accountability.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, Aroma, Rocco, thank you for the or Rocco. I might have butchered that, but thank you for the 2. Dodgers said it, put the ball in play, and wait. 4 errors today. Yeah, do you know why the Yankees struggle against the Blue Jays? Because the Blue Jays play a very similar brand to the Dodgers. They just do. They take advantage of every single opportunity. They're scrappy. They put the ball in play. They don't have to work counts. I mean, they do work counts, but they don't strike out. They're a team that puts the ball in play, and good things happen when you just put the ball in play, or at least something can happen when you put the ball in play and you're not striking out. And I think
what all the contenders do, by the way, like for the most part, wouldn't you say Arizona Diamondbacks make the World Series, right? Texas Rangers make the World Series.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Dodgers win a pennant. They beat the San Diego Padres, who also probably thought they should have beat the Dodgers, right? They had them on the ropes. What do all those teams have in common? They put the ball in play.
They do.
So now all of a sudden,
you got to have an offense in this league. I mean, the Yankees have the offense, but the issue is you can actually negate your offense with bad base running. The Yankees have done that this year. You can negate good defense. You can play good defense the whole entire game, and you can negate it the moment you have a bad defensive thing. Is that Giancarlo Stanton?
That is, you can't miss those veneers anywhere. I'm telling you right now, that's when you know someone's checks are clearing just right, when they start getting those fancy teeth. I was always wondering, by the way, I was like, how is everyone's smile so much better than mine? Like, how are they getting their teeth so white? It's just fake teeth.
You could do the veneers, but like lightly stained so they look normal. But like Matthew Stafford, for instance, like in LA, and I see it all the time, he has they call him LA white, and they just look ridiculous.
There are a lot of people. It's
Judge
almost like
has those. Yeah.
Who? Oh, yeah.
The LA white. I mean, I just think it's funny because of all people, Michael Strahan never got veneers, and you would have thought he would be the first one.
Yeah, it was part of the look. And mind you, I have no problem with them. It's just
I have no
how far we go with them. It's like Jason Oppenheimer white. It's like majority of our audience probably has no idea what I'm talking about. This is Selling Sunset. It is a ridiculous color of white. So yeah, that picture is awesome. But Christopher, in all seriousness, thank you. He's probably like, oh, I thought I was going to be thanked. No, Christopher, thank you for becoming a member at Yankees Unloaded. It's greatly appreciated. And Slim Lewis,
That's a beautiful man. That's what Christopher said.
Hey, no comment. Slim Lewis with the 5 says Glaber, Durbin, Narvaez are a combined. Well, I don't care about WAR, but it definitely is. We know what they're doing, right? As far as the other numbers as well, they're performing.
Yeah.
7.5 WAR. Why would we trust Cashman to right this ship? And to my point earlier, Jake, why would I trust him to sell? I trust him to buy moderately and then get out the way. And then hopefully some offseason, a random offseason, Hal Steinbrenner is going to get in the way and say, I want Kyle Tucker. I want the superstar and make this easier. Wells, Martian, and Rice have a combined WAR of 1.9. Cashman over the hill. Yo. Great conclusion there.
I don't know what's funnier, the fact he put yo or the fact you read yo. Like, well, we know what people are putting in the comments section.
I mean, genuinely, what year did it become? Like, at what time were you like, okay, Brian Cashman, I think we can go in a different direction. For you personally, I'm talking to you, the individual watching this show. What year was it? Don't tell me 2003. Tell me the year realistically where you said, we've seen enough. He's had enough of a leash, a realistic leash, where he had time to fix some of the mistakes he's made, right? Yeah. You make mistakes with Aaron Hicks. You make mistakes. You got guys like Britton on your roster. You're paying $13 million and they're duds. We've been paying a lot of money, right? This DJ LeMahieu thing. What year was that where he was over the hill, yo?
It's funny because when you think about it, Cashman is what he's always been. And Boone is what he's been since 2018. So is it really their fault that they won't change when they've shown you who they are? Or is it really more so Hal's fault for not changing with them? Because, and at the same time, don't get me wrong, when you see like, people in the comment section, they're like, well, we know if they got rid of Boone, they would just hire another Boone. Like, yeah. So what you're saying is that Hal is indeed the master part of the problem. And he should,
at the very least, he needs because people say, well, he needs to sell the team. I believe Hal Steinbrenner just he's not going to sell the team. He has to overhaul how he's doing things, which, by the way, happens. It just does. Sometimes a boss will say, we're changing things up. I'm firing the manager. I'm firing this person, the head of staff gone. We're going to do things differently. He's going to have to make a choice. And obviously, there are a lot of people who cover this team. I'm not going to name any names, but they sort of gaslight us out of this conversation because they say, well, guys, we're in the thick of it. Like, we're in the playoffs, so you guys have a lot of nerve complaining. It seems pretty negative. And it's like, well, our goal is either to win the World Series or it's not. It sounds a lot like the goal is not that. You want me to believe the goal should be something a little bit less, and which I won't do, by the way.
No, I get that. I totally get that. But, I think, again, the whole Hal thing, it is frustrating. And by the way, the whole story, right? George Steinbrenner initially wanted to pass the Yankees down to Michael Burke.
Yeah, and then there was like a dispute, right? Some type of dispute.
Yeah, something like that. And yeah, he eventually gave up control to Hal and Hank. And of course, Hank passed away. So it's just Hal, which I think also is an issue because it's just Hal. And there's nobody there really guiding him. If anything, the only guy that's guiding him is the guy who's working under him. And that is Brian Cashman. So, yeah.
So people think that if we do make a move, we're just you cut off the arm, it's going to grow back. That's it's not what you want to hear. But I'm sure we're going to have a better day.
Not what you want to hear.
Eventually, you'd think we're going to get our day in the sun. I don't know when that day is going to come.
Do you know where that comes from?
It's now what?
It's not what you want.
Right, it's not.
No, do you know where that's from? Joe Girardi used to say that after. Yeah, it's not what you want.
He does say that quite a bit.
Yeah, that was his thing. Like, how Aaron Boone is always saying it's in front of us.
Right.
Yeah, well, Joe Girardi's was, and that's not what you want. And I don't know if you caught it, but the other day by the way, that Brave series, fantastic announcing. Michael Kay kept just throwing, not shade, but like messing around with Joe Girardi. And it'd be like, yeah, and Ronald Acuna serves that one to left field. That's not what you want. And Joe Girardi's just cracking up.
Yeah.
You got to love that. But
yeah, what I like about Girardi, by the way, is that you can tell he's thinking in real time, which goes to show you actually how he was managing. He was really thinking in real time. And sometimes when you're just thinking, like you're at the field and you're a spectator and you're trying to notice, you're going to notice trends. That's the first thing you're going to notice. And you know what noticing trends helps you do? Build a lineup. Create an actual plan. Who's going to pitch? When they pitch, right? And it's going to make sense why guys get out there. And guess what? Girardi. When you start seeing someone like Johnny Lowe just not getting outs, when Joe Girardi's the manager, you just go away from it. And you know what you end up seeing in turn? Leaving the starter in longer, maybe than you would be comfortable. Putting a better pitcher out on the mound longer than you'd like. That's what someone who's thinking does. So, yeah, I agree with a lot of the perspective that our audience has. And Pocket Rude Boy with the 2, thank you for the super, says New York fans can admit, and by the way, Jake, to be fair to us, we knew it the second. I know you didn't like that it was being said because it was very chippy. You didn't like it because you were talking about sportsmanship. I couldn't have cared less. I felt like we essentially made a fool of ourselves. No. We made a fool of ourselves, right? They were chippy. They easily could have just said nothing and just known what they known. Said nothing to us. We had it bad enough. And then the Yankees would show up the following year and then have a chip on their shoulder and kind of go get it. But guess what? The Dodgers were like, no, we knew exactly how to beat you guys. The code was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Simple as that. We're going to put the ball in play. You guys are just going to trip over your own feet. We're going to win a ball game. It's exactly what they did. They didn't rake in the World Series. They put the ball in play, and we took care of the rest.
That's also, it's not even a sportsmanship thing for me. I think it kind of makes you look weak. Why would you want to weaken your championship? Why would you want to weaken yourself? You're telling me by admitting that, oh, yeah, we knew they just had fundamental issues. So what you're saying is that you just knew they would make mistakes and you would capitalize off said mistakes. You couldn't beat them any other way. If they came out and they actually played good baseball, you're actually telling me without telling me that you probably should have lost the series if they played decent.
I mean,
defense.
that is technically true, but in their defense, they look at it the exact same way that a football team is going to say. They are the best pass defense in the history of the game. Their run defense is 27th in the NFL. We are going to run the football because they're the 27th ranked defense. And it's just as simple as that. They told us the scouting report as soon as the series was over. The series, our scouting report is not to do a ton. We're going to slap the ball in the infield. We're going to hit the ball out to the outfield. Make your players cover positions, right? Make reads, make double cuts, throws to the plate. As long as we're making you guys do that, you guys will screw it up. And it's exactly what we did. I agreed right when I saw it. I had no problem.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think for me, I would rather, if I'm a Dodger fan, I'd rather remember it as like, yeah, Freddie Freeman had one of the greatest postseasons I've ever seen. The pitching came through when it had to, things like that, right? Ohtani's
they do. They're not thinking about us. I promise you, Dodgers fans aren't thinking about us for a second.
Not really, because I still see, trust me, I see it.
It's the internet.
Follow a lot of Dodger fans, but no, the biggest thing I'll never understand is how obsessed they are with that fifth inning. They're obsessed. And I'm not saying all Dodger fans, but a lot of Dodger fans are obsessed. They even have like the bumper sticker on the back of their car, shows the scoreboard, Yankees up. And it's like, for me, I don't really understand that, because that game was just to go back to Dodger Stadium and you're down 3-2 in the series. You still had to win 2 straight in LA. That is a hard, tough task. No one has done that. And that's the thing. I think I would just have more, I would just feel better about my team that, like, oh yeah, an inning where they just messed up and we essentially, unforced errors, won us the game.
It's not Dodgers fans. I'm telling you, the New England Patriots did the exact same thing. What did Patriots fans talk about for the next 8 years? 28-3. You guys blew it. Mind you, that's just
weird.
how sports go. I understand what you're saying, but it's none of what the Dodgers have ever said bothers me. Nothing bothers me more than a team who the Dodgers pretty much showed you the middle finger. As soon as the series was over, they're like, hey, you guys were lucky to be here. It's pretty much what they told you in a different way. And then you guys showed up in 2025.
Yeah.
And you'd say, oh, the first thing the Yankees are going to shore up, if anything, is going to be this situational hitting. It's going to be base running. It's going to be covering the bases. It's going to be knowing where to go with the baseball. Clearly, the Yankees are going to solve that before they do anything else. What do they do the following year? Chip on their shoulder. We're sitting here July 23rd trying to figure out if we should trade for Hayes from Pittsburgh, if he can help us with the fundamentals.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I have a lot of respect for the Dodgers, so I don't want to come off like I'm, eliminating or minimizing their accomplishment. They're a great team. They were coached well, and they totally earned it. I think when you're talking about the fundamentals and all this stuff, it's actually more infuriating, because I remember at the beginning of the year, Judge being asked what he thought about the comments, and he said, well, we'll see them again, or something along those lines, and whatever. And I remember Aaron Boone saying, yeah, we have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder from that. It's like, okay, well, I don't see it. I saw it at the beginning of the year when they won 9 series in a row. I don't see it now. And so the Yankees have, I believe, the easiest schedule in baseball the rest of the year. Because of that, I do believe they'll make the playoffs. I do think they're going to have a decent enough deadline, because I don't think they necessarily have to get Suarez. I think they know what they need to do, and they're going to get at least one of the bullpen guys that I like, and maybe the other one they'll probably go bargain binning. But I do think they get a third baseman, and yeah, I think the way I see it is they're probably going to win 92 games. That I've maintained that. I think they're going to win 92, and I think if they go out, they bring a guy in like Hayes, they get some bullpen pieces that are good, maybe a starting pitcher. There's no reason this team can't go back to the World Series. Can they win it? I mean, yes, anybody can win if you get there. But I think that's going to be the taller task at hand. If that's against the Dodgers, they don't match up well. We'll see. But the Yankees are an interesting team because, and we've agreed on this, you like a lot of the roster. It's the parts that you don't like, you really don't like. And they're really bottom of the barrel. But, you know, you like a big part of this roster. I mean, you like to see Bellinger. You like to see Judge. You know, you like to see Goldschmidt. Giancarlo Stanton, I still see it in the comment section every now and then. Like, yeah, you know, him being the DH is really hurting the versatility. Giancarlo is not hurting the team in the slightest. I don't care. Because what he does when he is at the plate is he has a great eye. I think it's improved. And he can hit the crap out of the ball. And that's all I'm asking of him as a designated hitter. I don't care who it keeps off the field. Giancarlo should be in the lineup every single day with the way he's hitting. Like, so point being,
we had better hitters than them, then Giancarlo should sit. But we don't have somebody who can hit 340 and hit 50 bombs. So Giancarlo is your DH. Hate to break it to you guys. And I do see it. I saw in the comments from Noble Demon Tim said that Jason Dominguez should be the DH. No, he shouldn't. Because Jason Dominguez is not hitting anywhere close to as well as Giancarlo Stanton. He's just not as good of an at-bat. And as far as October threats go, we want Giancarlo in the box over Jason Dominguez. I know Jason Dominguez is a good player, but Giancarlo is the bat you'd rather have. So until there's a bat that you'd rather have at DH, Giancarlo's your DH. And Christopher, Giancarlo wants to talk to you, Jake.
10:27 here. Interesting. I wonder, am I missing something? Is there a meaning for this? What 10:27? I'm trying to think. Maybe
10 is for DH because he's not one of 9, and 27 is jersey number.
Oh, maybe. Or what was 10/27 2024?
Christopher,
Yankees.
You'll have to let us know if that was the intention behind it. I doubt
the Yankees lost game 2 on 10/27, so I don't think. But Stanton hit a towering home run in that game, I believe. So I don't know. Could be anything. But Boone's blow-up highlights something critical. Much has been said, RE New York media, but not RE social media. There's no internal infrastructure for the organization to navigate that combo on or off the field. They say a whole lot of nothing. They say a lot of nothing. Okay. That's just the way that they operate. It comes from the players. It comes from the coaches. It's nothing against the players. I mean, that's just how they do things. But yeah, we can read right through it. You know how people say we can read right through your bullshit? Well, there you go. You can see it.
Can. It's very obvious. And Brian with the 5 says he has a question. So when was the last time Brian Cashman won or made a trade at the deadline that actually benefited the Yankees in the postseason? Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm is the last time the Yankees made a trade. And mind you, we were expecting multiple trades to help the 2024 Yankees win a World Series. Multiple.
Yeah.
Of course, they made the offseason trade. They took the risk to go get a rental in Juan Soto. I liked that risk. I still like it. I thought it was the right message to send Yankees fans at the time. We have got to, even if we lose the value long term, we have to win a World Series. My ass is in the pot. And I liked that was the message coming into that season.
The jackpot.
Yes. And so when you show up to the deadline, we're saying, oh, we need multiple relievers, a lefty, a righty. We need a third baseman. And we all said, Jake, we're going to get Jazz Chisholm and we're going to get a closer in a tandem trade. We got one player. And to answer that question, when you're saying when was the last time he won a trade that actually benefited the Yankees, that trade benefited the Yankees. But the real thing that you're looking for, Brian, is benefited to the point where it brought the Yankees over the hump. That's really what you're getting at, what you really want to see. Because you don't really care if we get in October of this year in a trade that we make, that player plays well, but we lose in the division series. Are you really going to give a rip? Probably not. Because we're going to be talking about what it was that the Yankees didn't have to get over the hump. So, Jake, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it's a little bit of revisionist history to act like Brian Cashman doesn't win any trades. He just doesn't win enough trades or free agency to get us to where we need to go.
No, I think that's fair. I would probably say also there was an interesting piece. I don't know, was it Nightingale? I forget who mentioned it, but point being, Diego Cartaya. Do you guys remember him?
It was Nightingale. He was the number one prospect for the Dodgers.
Yes.
He was a catching prospect, actually.
Nobody talks about him anymore because he didn't end up amounting really anything. Poor guy, because he got highlighted today in a big way. I probably did not care to. But my point being, I was thinking about it. I think the Yankees do get a little bit underrated as far as their return and who they get and who they let go. Because Cartaya, never heard that. Dodgers never took flack for that. Dodgers never took flack for giving up. And again, Gary, I know where you're going to go with this. They won.
You already know the name I'm throwing out there.
But yeah, of course, Alvarez. You and I are like the only people that know that too, by the way. That's not like common knowledge, apparently. But
it's crazy to me.
You know, I do feel like the Yankees have. I think that they've given up some serious value. I mean, and I think it's okay. I mean, I think Agustin Ramirez, still say Jazz won the trade. Narvaez, you have a kid who's hitting 340, playing third base, a need right now for you over the last 30 games. And, you know, that's Caleb Durbin. And, you know, you lose a guy to Rule 5 draft and Garrett Whitlock. I mean, they have had guys that are decently valuable. So, like, when I constantly hear, the Yankees don't have anything of value, I could not disagree more. Now I understand, you know, you throw your Blake Rutherford in that White Sox deal I brought up on the John Morosi show, you know, to get Todd Frazier, to get Tommy Kahnle, to get David Robertson. Yeah, he didn't end up being anything. Or, you know, there are guys like that, right? Manny Benuelos and, you know, Jose Campos. Yes, they've had guys like that in the past, right? You know, Mateo, of course. But I do feel like they're more often than not nowadays, it feels like they are developing, okay, in that minor league. And I do think it is, we're not hearing it, but I think teams are starting to see, Ben Rice there. Like, don't get me wrong, Volpe doesn't help. But Ben Rice, right, Spencer Jones, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, teams are paying attention to what they're doing. And I want to say this. I mean, you know, part of the point from Nightingale is that basically he was saying that if a Diego Cartaya can fall off like that and never amount to anything, then, I mean, you kind of should. It's not like you have to trade every prospect, but you should really know who you're trading, who you're sending out that door, that you're really done with them. You're okay moving on from them before you do. But if there are any guys or you have any sort of like reservations on, those are the guys that you should move. And you go back and you look, I think one of the best trades the Yankees have ever made, of course, Alex Rodriguez for Alfonso Soriano, but at the deadline, David Justice. That was a huge move for them in 2000. And, you know, it was a big deal. And I thought, you know, kind of looking back on a bunch of trades, I mean, they traded, you know, prospects, big time prospects, Zach Day, Jake Westbrook, Ricky Leday. I mean, you know, it was a 34-year-old David Justice, but he was awesome and he worked, you know. So sometimes you got to do that. And I know it's weird because David Justice, 34 years old, kind of sounds like Suarez, right? But that's not what they're missing. My point being, though, is that I think you do have to be open to seeing both sides of it. You don't want to lean too heavily on just trading away everybody in the farm.
Wait, so the whole farm isn't going to pan out? Is it because that's the way it seems when you talk about these players? So what it actually goes to show you the point really that Nightingale was making is George Lombard Jr., the Spencer Jones in your system, raking in AA, raking in AAA. Well, guess who else was raking in AA? Diego.
Yeah.
Dodgers prospect, raking. And it just tells you there's levels to this sport. And there's no guarantees with these prospects. Guess what, guys? Any audience, any fan base will tell you, anytime there's a player, there's a Fernando Tatis Jr. traded, there's a Yordan Alvarez traded, and they're just prospects. They haven't proven a damn thing. Nothing. And then they pan out. You know what that said organization does in their fan base? They say, I always knew that guy was going to pan out. Okay. That's just sort of the climate we're in. People are trying to get into predictions. George Lombard Jr. cannot be traded. It cannot happen, right? And therein lies the point, is that if you're trading away a George Lombard Jr., a Spencer Jones, be happy with what you get. You need to be happy with what's coming inbound. You shouldn't be overly focused on what it is the potential is for these players. You cannot do that. And that's obviously what the Yankees do. I see your finger. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to clear it up because I know you were going to get absolutely flamed in the comment section.
Why?
Diego Cartaya was terrible after high A. He was never good.
Right, but the entire premise of the point is that the level of when he was traded, everyone thought, oh, they're getting a premier player. That's the point.
Yeah, because he had that label on him. But
George Lombard Jr. right now is not doing a lick either in Double-A. He's not hitting. He's fielding well, but he's 20 years old. The point is, he's not playing well right now, and yet the majority of baseball, if they were like, hey, if you want our great player, we would love George Lombard Jr. to be part of this deal. The reason for that is because of potential, scouting, right? And when that player from the Dodgers organization was traded, everyone thought they're giving up something great to get something great. That's what we're doing here. They gave up a ton to get a ton to try to win right now. And that's the beauty. If people start to buy into the fact that prospects are just that, they're prospects, they may turn into something great. But if you're acquiring something great in the now, and it's likely that that player is going to give you a high output, why would you panic about what you're getting rid of, especially if you're a high-priced team that can go spend the dollar in the offseason? I'll never understand it. You should never freak out about trading away talent. As long as the talent that you brought in, you love that.
I think that the Cartaya deal for Jose Vasquez might be literally nobody won that deal. Cartaya is not good, and Jose Vasquez, I know he's only 20. He has a 13 ERA for the Dodgers.
Hell of a trade
in the minors. So, yeah, I don't know. It is a reminder, though, again, that, like, yeah, not everybody pans out. I do think, I'm going to say this, don't throw any books at me or anything, but I think the Dodgers have a really overrated farm system. I was going through, and it just doesn't feel like a lot of these guys really pan out. But they're covering it up because they're winning, they're spending money, but I don't
really think that, because you have to remember they also we have MVPs coming out of our system in Aaron Judge. Mm-hmm. So do they, right? They developed Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger was out of the 5th round, right?
Yeah,
completely revamped his stance. So
but I'm saying right now.
No, but they don't need a system. That's the thing. Your system is useless if you can spend. Your system, technically, it's honestly just brownie points. And really,
no, I agree completely.
It's pointless.
But I'm saying it's so common. Like, people just, like, if you talk about the best systems in the league, people would just say the Dodgers. Just assume the De Paula guy, right? They're like, yeah, the Dodgers. But when you look, it's like Pages, Will Smith. Like, who else?
Honestly,
is like, holy, yes.
This is what I would say about the Dodgers system. Mm-hmm. I think they use a system exactly the way it's intended to be used.
That's fair.
When you spend money, I couldn't give a rat's ass about any organization's farm system. If 5 years goes down the road, you don't know when to trade those players. You don't know when to call them up. You don't trust them to play, right? What good was it for me to put you at the top rankings of a system? You know what it really was for? It was for some geek in an office who has no business with an office. It's for him to go, look at us, we've got the best system, and it makes them feel good at Thanksgiving dinner table. Pointless. The Los Angeles Dodgers, and here's what they do. They have a system where we're going to develop prospects. We're going to spend a ton of money. We're going to invest in talent, and we're going to fill in the gaps with our system. And guess what? You see a free agent, you see Shohei Ohtani who's available. Yeah, we're going to let this somewhat of a star, he's a borderline. They let Cody Bellinger walk. What do they do after that? They ship prospects out the door, bring us in Mookie Betts, right? That's what they do. They utilize their system to best take advantage for their big league team. Other organizations utilize their farm system so they can tell you they have good systems. That's pointless to me. So I love exactly how I agree with you, by the way. I don't look at the Dodgers and say they have the best system in the world. I don't do that. But it's the most impactful system because who runs it, they're willing to make aggressive trades. They know when to play a player, when not to. That's what I want from the Yankees when it's all said and done. I don't need you guys to have a top 5 system. I need you guys to know what to do with these guys, when to get rid of them, when to keep them. That's all it is.
Yeah, I saw, it was a while ago, but I saw a list where the Yankees had the 26th farm system, according to Bleacher Report. The Dodgers had the 3rd. And I just, that kind of goes to what I'm saying. Like, Dalton Rushing is your second prospect, and he's not, like, good. Like, he's struggling. You know, I understand Dave Paula. They like him a lot, but it feels, though, like I think the Yankees might have a better farm system right now than the Dodgers, like genuinely. But even if they don't, it's not like 3rd to 26th difference. And that's what I'm talking about. And I hope the league doesn't see it that way, because I think that's just ridiculous. That's my take, is that, like, I think the Yankees have good enough players in their farm system where they should be able to really compete with anybody to get anybody. Like, I feel like of all the guys, because obviously, you know, if the Pirates wanted to acquire somebody at the deadline, obviously they wouldn't. They're always selling. We know that.
Yes.
But if they wanted to acquire somebody, that guy Bubba, the pitcher, that's really, really good behind schemes.
Bubba Chandler.
Yeah.
Yep.
He would. There you go. You can get anybody with that guy. Anybody. Name him. So
right.
That's my thing, is I don't feel like, of all the farm systems out there, I don't think everybody is on the table. I could think of like the Phillies with Painter, who they'd probably have to trade away to get like a guy like Mason Miller. But like when you look at like the top 100, and I'll bring it up right now, like when you have the Red Sox, for instance, they're not trading Roman Anthony for anybody. No chance. And then Connor Griffin, like, Pirates aren't trading him. So, like, when you look at these teams, like Chase Burns, he's a part of this roster. He's not getting traded. So the Padres, would they trade Leo DeVries, or I probably butchered that name.
I would probably say yes. It's possible. I mean, so I get what you're saying.
This is the best guy, if that's what you believe. This is the best guy that could get traded in the farm system this deadline.
That's right.
So that's what I'm saying, though, is that's what the Padres have to offer. So, I mean, technically they would have the jolt here. Would the Tigers trade McGonagall? I think so. They have a chance to win a World Series this year. So these two guys, and then you have Jesus Mate, I'm going to assume. Brewers would probably trade him if they're buyers. Painter, like I mentioned, Phillies would absolutely trade him if they could get like a Mason
You have to remember,
Miller.
all these players that you're listing, all that really matters when it comes to these systems, it really comes down to what type of position is the franchise in when they show up. Think of it this way. Jason Dominguez is our top prospect. He was our top prospect coming into the year. They still were calling him a prospect. When he shows up, we don't have, and we still don't have, an everyday role for him. We don't have an everyday spot for Jason Dominguez. We just don't, right?
Yeah.
And the Yankees didn't decide to trade this player because they're thinking, well, I don't want to trade Jason Dominguez. He's too good of a player. Really, what I'm telling you is the Yankees did neither. The Yankees didn't clear a spot for him the way that the Red Sox did with Roman Anthony. They didn't do that. They didn't hand him the keys. They also didn't trade him to maximize trade value, right? They did neither. So what I'm telling you, when it comes to the Dodgers system will always look better than ours, and thank you for adding that context there. That is really good. The Dodgers system will always show more results than ours for the next decade because the Dodgers are definitive with their decision-making, who to use and when not to use them. That's what it is. You need to make a call. At some point, you need to use a prospect. That George Lombard Jr., some people think he's him. He's the guy that the Yankees should be protecting. Okay, great. Well, when he shows up here, are you going to act like, oh, well, we may kick him over to third base. We'll give him some reps at second base, right? And maybe he needs to be sent down for a week or two. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called development. Are you putting each of these players, every single one of those players, 1 through 100, are all going to be in a unique situation? Cam Schlittler may be thrown in a bullpen in a month and a half, 2.5 months.
This is new, by the way. That's funny.
It's new. It affects his development in some type of way. Could be positive, right? Could be Michael King-esque. It could help him. It also could be the worst thing that ever happened to him. So I say all that to say this. The Yankees can say what they want about this farm system. You have got to figure out a plan for how to utilize the players you're choosing to keep. It's the only way this system will matter at all. And mind you, using these players and these rankings to your advantage also means trading some of these names and being aggressive.
No, I agree. And if you're the Yankees right now and you're looking at being, having controllable assets and being cheaper, right? Because you wanted to go cheaper. George Lombard Jr., does he come up next year or is it 2027? LaGrange, they're saying 2026 is his ETA. But, this guy does have questionable control. But he's got some really good stuff. Like, this is where they're going to have to make some tough decisions. Because you kind of have to go like this, Garrett. It's actually really simple. If you're the Yankees, you have Max Fried locked in, Garrett Cole locked in, Carlos Rodon locked in. Everyone else is not locked in. Those are the three guys that you have signed long-term in the rotation.
Yep.
You have to kind of decide between, Clark Schmidt, he's dealing with the Tommy John, Will Warren, Cam Schlittler, Carlos LaGrange, right? Bryce Cunningham, Ben Hess, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, even Griffin Herron here. You have to decide who of those guys are worth keeping. Luis Heel, is he a part of that? If not, then you're trading him. So that's the interesting thing because, because we've seen it go, and we're going to be talking to Jabba. Jabba was a top pitching prospect. He was a starting pitcher. People forget this. It was him, it was Phil Hughes, and Ian Kennedy. It was the big three, right? And
Ian Kennedy, wow.
We just don't see that anymore. And the reason being, especially for the Yankees, is that they're paying like top dollar to 3 starting pitchers. And so there's not going to be a big 3. And so I guess that's the thing is much as it sucks to have a homegrown guy that you have to send away, like Cam Schlittler, if they don't see him like I do, like I think he's a number 2 when he figures it out, and he's already a contributor for this rotation. But if you feel like LaGrange is going to, do more and he's going to translate better, then you trade Schlittler. If you think Schlittler has already checked the box, and as much as you like LaGrange, you're not going to just sit here and hold on to him until he's not worth anything.
You don't get to be a hindsight Hank. You trade one or the other, and people always say, well, I just want to keep both. Okay, well, you call yourself a win-now organization. You don't just get to sit around and wait for prospects. That's not the way win-now organizations work. This isn't the NFL where you draft people in the first round or you can draft them in the 5th round, and they're on your team next year. It doesn't work like that. Baseball is a long, drawn-out process.
They should have traded him a long time ago, back when he was up here.
Of course. And so everyone is always under the impression that, well, Roderick Arias, this player, I have high hopes for him. I want to keep him. They'll tell you they want to keep everybody, and they want to trade the guys all the way at the bottom of the list. It just doesn't work that way. I want to get to this super. It's our final super, so I definitely want to get to it. Gerald, thank you for investing in Yankees Unloaded. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for the 10. So it's long been rumored that Cashman is waiting for Murakami to be posted this winter. He's missed 2025 with an elbow injury, but when healthy is an offensive stud at third base. So I'm going to tell you this. And Gerald, again, this is a really good question. I think we did somewhat touch on this a few weeks ago. And I will say this. When it comes to Murakami, I'm just over giving Brian Cashman the benefit of the doubt of being this big game hunter of the future. Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, the list goes on. And of course, people are somewhat fatigued of that conversation, the Harper conversation. Why can't we land the big fish free agent, right? And at the end, Juan Soto didn't choose to be here. We got outbid by the Mets and Steve Cohen. So when you look at this, I think it would be a little ridiculous of me to get excited about Brian Cashman and his investment into some of these Japanese players or free agents to begin with, when he's never given me a reason to be excited about the near future. Jake, mind you, you gave an answer that tells the exact story. You don't have high hopes for Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is a perfect fit for any team. He's a superstar bat. He's a superstar glove. The fundamentals don't elude him in any way. He's really cut from the same cloth as Cody Bellinger. And so when you look at a player like that, you don't even feel confident that Brian Cashman's going to go get that done. Why? Because he hasn't done anything for you to feel like he's going to do that. That's why.
This is exactly the type of thing that he would do, going after Hayes. So, Issy Devo, appreciate the 5. Hayes potentially can do well moving down to 9th in the deep order. He should see better pitches and could be a timely AB given his baseball IQ. Thoughts? I completely agree. Couldn't agree more, to be honest with you. It's weird, Gary. It was about a month ago. I was like, yeah, Murakami sounds cool. But I maintained exactly how I'm going to say it now. I only care about 2025. I don't give 2 shits about 2026 right now. I don't care. The only way I care about 2026 is in trades because I care about having guys that have control. I've made that very clear. But as far as going out and getting guys, getting guys in 2026, I don't care right now. So I like Murakami, but honestly, I would rather go out and I think they should get their third baseman in the future. I think whether that is Hayes this offseason or, this deadline, or it is Maikel Garcia, who apparently is not a guy that only virals would want. You guys are joking, right? A third baseman. He literally put basement with only 8
I don't want a third
runs.
baseman either.
Yeah, I don't want a basement.
I'll take a basement, though. Basement homes are great.
With only 8 home runs in 100-plus games, no thank you. Can't believe you're Gary Sheffield's son. You want that dude to play third base for the New York Yankees. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
He's not sure either.
I don't know what's going on here, but here's the thing.
I'm guessing Virals wants Suarez. Would you say?
We went 2 hours, so I'm going to drop an F-bomb, okay? I don't give a fuck about home runs, okay? I don't care. I don't care. Why are we doing this? Why are we like, he doesn't have home runs? He's hitting 290. Would you rather have the guy who's hitting 147?
The Yankees had 5 hits. The Yankees had 5 hits today. They had 3 home runs. Did you think the solution to today's game was, man, I wish we hit more home runs? It probably would have solved today's problem. No, when you watch today's game, what did you think the problem was? Was it homers or was it the fact that maybe we made 4 errors?
They had
maybe.
Oh my God. They had 3 home runs and they still had more errors. And who gets 4 errors in a game? Yes.
It is funny.
Oh, good Lord. I can't even. I can't because my thing is, and by the way, thank you for the comment because I appreciate you interacting.
I'm curious though that if we do get a basement this deadline, we'll be sure to ask some of our guests, of course. We'll ask Jabba maybe what he thinks about basements joining the team.
Yeah, that maybe that'll just be what we'll call. You know what the basement is? The basement is where you put wherever Eniel De Los Santos ended up going. De Los Meatballs. There you go. That's the basement. It's just where you lock him in the basement.
I'm going to try clicking a button
never see
here.
him again.
It may go wire. Oh, no.
You're an idiot.
I don't know how to fix it.
You're an idiot. All right, there we go.
Yeah. I tried.
No, I'm all. You're all good. Yeah. So sorry. I don't give a rip about home runs. I don't care. You have Aaron Judge. You have freaking Bellinger's going to have 20 home runs probably by 2 weeks from now, maybe even a week from now. Jazz Chisholm's going to have 20 home runs, right? You don't need home runs. You need guys to put the ball in play and get on base, okay? But more importantly, you just need a guy to be good at something. If he's only good at home runs, he's not good at something. I'm sorry.
That's very true. By the way, I have a last final report. I was meaning to offer this probably in the first 2 hours, but this is in regards to the Arizona Diamondbacks, who lost again today, actually, to the Houston Astros. Come from behind win. It was apparently devastating. Local reporter John Gambadoro says the 3-game sweep at the hands of the Astros pretty much solidifies Arizona as a seller. The team has several players on expiring contracts that could be traded. Gallen, obviously we're talking about Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Suarez, which we'd assume that Mr. Basement really wants Suarez because he hits home runs. Naylor, Miller, Beeks, and Grichuk have also heard that there is interest from a few teams on Lourdes Gurriel Jr. So the Arizona Diamondbacks have quite a lot to sell. I still had high hopes for this team, but of course you deal with Corbin Burns' injury to the UCL, Tommy John. Things change very quickly. It's just a gut punch. It sucks for them. But now that the Diamondbacks, it seems like, have a clear picture of how this is going to work out, yeah, I have no idea. Suarez still would be an upgrade. However, we're not giving up anything substantial for a player who helps us get better at what we're already fine at. I think the Yankees just need to hone in on the fact you need to be making trades for players that are great at what you suck at. And if you can do that, you guys have a bad bullpen. You guys should be focusing on your bullpen. You guys maybe are an arm short. You should be focusing on that. You guys can't field a lick at third base. You should focus on that. That's how you should handle this deadline. I think it's as simple as that. Of course, if you can go big game hunting at third base, you should do that. But nothing's set in stone. Nothing is easy about trading for players of that magnitude. More times than not, it happens over the winter. So I'll be interested to see what happens, of course, with this move. And Jake, what do you want him to drop in the comments?
Come on. You got to know what I want them to drop in the comments now.
In the basement?
Basement. Or
drop
the basement. The basement.
Yeah, drop.
Like it's a damn horror movie.
Drop third basement in the comment section. If you were here 2 hours and 6 minutes, 2 hours and 7 minutes, really, into this podcast, it's greatly appreciated. I'm assuming we passed or we're close to passing 8,000 subscribers by now. And I wanted to thank you guys personally for investing in the Yankees Unloaded. And of course, and Jake, what do we tell them? To like the video?
Yeah. You could also put third basement yo for some bonus points.
Third base yo would have been better.
Third basement yo.
Oh my God. Yeah. Izzy, thank you. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. And of course, we are doing all of our interviews this weekend. We're very excited to release them. They're not going to be live. So we'll do it very similar to what we did with John Morosi's interview. Of course, if you haven't seen it, we recommend you go do that. What's up?
We blew right by 8,000. We're at 8,025.
Okay. So we're inching closer to the 10,000 mark. I know we're a bit away, but when we get to 10,000 subscribers, we are going to be giving away a Yankees jersey of your choice.
Yes.
To any of our subscribers. We're going to announce the winner live on our podcast. We can't wait to do that. It'll be a lot of fun. So thank you guys for 8K.
Appreciate you guys.
The basement. What was it?
The third basement, yo. But don't do it in the chat. I see it in the chat. If you've done it in the chat, please do it in the comment section after this ends, because it's bonus points to get our YouTube algorithm pushed. Like they are pushing this video if you hit the thumbs up button and you drop third basement yo in the chat.
Help us with the algorithm. The third basement yo. Like this video.